Welcome to Freaky Fandoms. I am Andrew, and with me is Deborah, and it is day 2 of the 12 Days of Christmas.
2 turtle doves!
Jesus Christ. two turtle doves, and Deborah, what is our movie for today?
So, it's actually one that I wanted to put later on in our cycle.
Yeah.
But we went over this for like an hour and actually constructed it. There is a method to how we're going to be doing this. So because of that, we did have to bump it up. It is one of my favorite, more modern ones.
Newer, definitely newer out of the majority of the entries in our list.
It's Krampus.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Mike Dougherty's Krampus, the film that came out in 2015 when the Krampus craze was going into high gear and everyone was trying to make their own fucking Krampus Christmas horror movie.
Everyone was trying this shit.
So many shitty ones out there that people are trying to be apologetic for, but this is actually the real deal. Like,
no, this one was actually legit.
And I'll be honest, I like this movie more than Trick or Treat. Both directed by the same guy.
Yeah.
Trick or Treat has its moments that are good, but this one I can rewatch just happily almost any time.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times, like, Trick or Treat, yeah, it's just whatever, I get bored with it. This one, I've watched it a few times. I've played pool while it's been on. I went to a full-fledged Christmas party where this was on repeat.
I know, it's just super cool.
Never gets boring for me.
Yeah. The Krampus-themed Christmas party that we saw, we went to a party in Spokane, Washington, that was held by some really die-hard Krampus fans, I think in 2016.
It's not just Krampus fans. Like, they love Christmas, they love horror, and they're like, oh, there's this thing that's Christmas and horror. Let's just do it.
Yeah. They're hardcore genre fans for sure, but they had some actual real genuine love for the movie and a budget.
Yeah.
Because when you walked up to the party, there was this huge Krampus with the mask and everything to the side, and then a great little setup where it was a fireplace with a baby burning in it, which is ridiculous.
The husband used to work in the animatronics department for Disney.
Yeah.
So they got a budget.
They had some money. But yeah, this film has a fan base. It kind of hit theaters as sort of a sleeper, I think, because when we went and saw it 2 days in a row. We watched it, and then the next night we went right back and saw it again. We
saw this, it was the weekend it came out. It was opening weekend.
That's right.
And on Saturday afternoon, it was a matinee, so we're like, oh, well, it's a matinee. There's not going to be that many people here.
Yep.
So we were expecting that, and then we went later on in the night, and it was still empty.
Was it the same day? We watched it twice?
No, it was it was Sunday night. Sunday night,
at like 9 o'clock or something like that. And
but
it was just completely
it
empty.
was just, you would expect it to be a little bit more for both.
You'd think so. I don't remember exactly what the marketing for the movie was, but it seemed like
we had the theater to ourselves both showings, and
minus a handful of people.
I didn't see any marketing for this. I knew about this because you came home and you're like, "Hey, there's a movie about Krampus, and it's a Christmas movie that looks." The way you sold it to me was, it looks like a modern day Gremlins.
Yes. And in a way, this film does kind of have that tone, but it's also got a lot going for it that's separate from Joe Dante's classic.
I really, really enjoy this movie.
Well, let's talk about it, because, not only do we like it, but we're fans enough of the film to, of course, have it in the permanent collection. We threw down for the Waxwork Records release when it got initially run, including the fucking picture discs,
and then
with the elves on it.
And then we also gifted each other and ourselves figurines
from Weta, who worked on the film.
Yeah.
This was a Weta and Ghost VFX project. A ton of crazy practical effects in this movie,
which you've seldom seen nowadays. So I think that's another reason why I personally really liked it, was because, there was a whole bunch of CG, but there were a lot of practical effects.
Yeah.
And we need more of that.
Yeah, matte paintings, awesome creatures, even some really cool stunts. that weren't all visual effects. But I think this movie was made from like a place of love, but also by a director who really does try to honor like the sort of Amblin spirit, but also just that kind of era when films like The Gate came out.
Yeah.
Because this movie sort of does share a few thematic similarities to, those kinds of films. And again, talking about The Gate, there's an entire chunk of this movie, which is almost the entirety, where it's near a almost dreamlike kind of horror fantasy.
Yeah.
Which is very unsettling.
Well,
but let's talk about
one
Krampus.
Of the things about this movie for me is like you could tell that this was someone who grew up in the 80s.
Totally.
Who wanted to make movies.
Yeah.
So he pays his dues by doing practical effects and keeping that camp. But at the same time, he knows that it's modern, so he's got to put in splashes, and he's really good at weaving.
Yeah, I agree. This is a director who knows how to use a team and a crew to make a really visually exciting film that throughout has a great sense of humor, but also a very good mix of dramatic moments, as well as really, really horrific visuals that are just unbelievably, like, if I had seen this when I was 10 or younger, I would have had the worst fucking nightmares.
This would have 100% been kinder trauma.
So much so. Oh my god. I don't think we've checked out the Kinder Trauma site lately, but I guarantee that like there have been at least a handful of articles written about this for sure. It's just, man, this movie, it has some goofy moments, but when it really digs in,
it digs
big time,
and it hurts.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Krampus. You want to kind of break it down a little?
Okay, so a rich kid who has literally everything except for a functioning family, because that's par for the course.
Yeah, or restraint, because he likes to beat the shit out of people whenever he gets upset.
Yeah, decides that his family hurts his feelings and that he doesn't want people to be happy, so he wishes that no one will be happy. And Krampus comes to punish everybody, and it's what they fucking get.
Does he pull a nimbly? Does he wish him? Does he wish him away?
Wish him away!
Wish him away, bastard.
We are doing a never-ending story.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. But oh my god, the never-ending story laundry joke as an adult. Sidebar. This kid, he just becomes completely self-serving and arrogant and upset at basically being pranked, kind of. I mean, it's, malicious and mean and shit.
Okay, see, this is the thing.
Yeah. He gets really upset at
understand.
Christmas Eve dinner, but again, the dates are kind of debatable.
It's the 23rd, because there's even Advent, but it's just really weird. So my thing is, I can understand how people can empathize and be like, oh, poor dude, he just wants his family to be happy. He wants everyone to be okay.
Yeah.
However, with that being said, the shit that happens to him to make him go off and all this happen, I have had so much worse done to me, especially during the holidays.
Yeah.
All they did was read your fucking Santa letter.
Which is basically the equivalent of, reading his diary aloud. Like,
no, not even. Well, I guess it's just I can understand, I can empathize.
A private letter to Santa that had some very, I don't know, I guess personal thoughts and opinions on harsh criticism.
Truths.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
and it's embarrassing.
I can understand and empathize with him, but at the same time, I also am just like, so what's wrong with your life?
Yeah. Oh, someone picked on you on the nativity scene and you decided to get into a fight?
No, he wasn't picked on. Someone told another kid that Santa didn't exist.
That's right, because...
And he decided to go AWOL and beat the shit out of the person, even though it had nothing to do with him.
That's the fucking connection.
What?
Both this and Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 are trigger movies. Where the main characters get Marty McFly'd, someone calls them chicken. Naughty!
Okay, all right. So Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, we found out there's actually a fucking goddamn Christmas sweater.
That's right.
With him
Fright
doing
rags.
and it says Garbage Day.
Yes.
And Santa, I already gave you my sizes. And I need this sweater.
Oh man. Well, what I love about this film is that it really does kind of shine a light on modern commercialism and what Christmas is, which to our main family and their in-laws is just a big fucking hassle.
Well, it also starts off with holiday shoppers trampling through the store, getting tased.
Yeah, it's the
causing
massacre
mayhem,
at Black
fighting.
Friday.
Yeah.
Totally. With one of the classic Bing Crosby, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas songs playing over just this fucking mayhem of people trying to tear retail items out of each other's hands and getting tased.
And then it shows
and it's glorious. It's so good.
It shows the dysfunctional dinner, and then it's, why do we have to be nice to them just because we share DNA? Oh, well, that's because that's what family is.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, family is family, but if they are genuinely toxic, you shouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But it feeds into it doesn't matter how toxic they are, they're family, you got to deal with it.
Which I think is very destructive, but I think that might be a lengthy conversation in itself.
And they're also not really that toxic or dysfunctional.
They're just kind of shitty and privileged and salty.
And then the family that comes in is a little bit hard. Like, they have hard times, and people would consider them trashy. I just see them as
they're grizzled, they're weathered, they're kind of worn out just by hard living, but they're trying.
Good people.
They talk shit a little bit, and they're fine. And that's the thing too, is I actually think the in-laws family, the visiting family, has a little bit more of a likable character set than the primary family, even though the main family is headed by Toni Collette, which is the shit.
So Toni, if you take her away, I like
the primary family shit.
I like the secondary family more. They have a lot more character to them. They're a little bit more relatable.
Yeah. The sister. The sister's husband.
The sister, Howie Jr. I don't really like Howie Jr., but like the twins,
well,
Stevie and
Howie
Jordan.
Jr. is just an Augustus Gloop. And you know that, Mike Doherty loves that character because he even had the same kind of kid in Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Fucking Aunt Dorothy.
Aunt Dorothy's the shit. She's the link between both the families because, they have to deal with her. And she's classic too, because she's in fucking Edward Scissorhands. She's in I think she even shows up in From Beyond, if that's the same actress, but old Joe Dante films. Like, she is kind of one of those really cool, like, character actresses who's great to see on screen every time she shows up again.
When I figured out that she was the chunky neighbor from Edward Scissorhands, I about shit a brick.
I think that was the second year we watched it, when we finally got it in the house, and you were like, oh my god, I do know her.
Well, we watched them back to back because I was like, I know her, and then we watched Edward Scissorhands, and I was like, Wah!
Yeah, exactly.
Laid an egg.
So great. I love this movie. I love when it actually kicks in to Silent Hill mode. Which really, it's just that click when everything becomes this nightmare realm version of itself. And for this movie, it's just this snowed in, desolate, not really burnt out, but like just destroyed
there's a blizzard,
like neighborhood.
It's blizzard, it's run down. It looks like anything during any type of natural disaster, like that would be like
a major catastrophic event
like
has occurred.
With that much snow, that is the damage that you would get, so it makes sense.
But it's all being generated by Krampus, this ancient figure going back into, just centuries old mythology and folklore. And it's really kind of like he's trapped them in his realm, which we actually see, literally at the end of the movie. Yeah. So from the point that the kid condemns and damns his family, they're fucked.
Yeah.
And they just get picked off one by one.
They just get tortured and toyed with. And I'm not going to place all the blame just on the kid.
I think the family, each
I'm
of
gonna
them
place
have their
the
own
blame
individual
on the
faults.
grandma.
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Let's
Here's the
talk
reason
about
why.
this issue.
She is the worst fucking bushka in the entire world. And the reason I say this was because she did the exact same thing to her family when she was a kid. And she survived. Did she tell her children and her children's children what happened and teach them a lesson through story? No. She didn't tell fucking anybody until her grandson made the mistake, and then like 10 hours later after 2 people got killed, then she decided to tell them. Worst bushka, I don't care how good your borscht is, get out of my face.
I fucking love it. And yeah, the whole thing about her delivering the story of her interaction with Krampus when he took away her family is way too fucking little too late, because they're already in his clutches, in his world, essentially. They never had a chance. As soon as that kid tore up the fucking note to Santa Claus and threw it out the window and it floated up into the sky and all of the lights in the neighborhood went out,
you're done.
They were done. That was it. All damned to essentially what you can kind of relate to like a sort of hell realm, like the hell of Krampus.
So this is what I think. They
obviously
have a very difficult time being together.
The whole family?
The whole family. I mean, they all express it in different ways. Their hell is to perpetually be together for all of eternity on Christmas morning and forced to be together.
You know who has it the best out of the entire family?
The dog.
I don't think so. The dog? The dog's
Are we talking
Rosie's
about
okay.
Dorothy? Because she
gets to drink. That's the key at the end of the film, is they are stuck in a perpetual hell of Christmas Day forever.
But she still has her flask.
Endless schnapps. Endless peppermint schnapps for eternity.
I want her
Dorothy's
recipe.
fine. Yeah, because it's like a hot cocoa schnapps mix with a candy cane.
Like, she actually makes her own. Like, it looks like homemade cocoa with, I think, a type of brandy and then a candy cane. It's like, I gotta learn what she fucking did, because,
I don't know.
I
Maybe
do
she's got a bottle of, like, German peppermint schnapps and she's just mixing it into some chocolate with some candy cane to stir it.
I mean, I do peppermint schnapps and cocoa for Christmas, but I want that recipe.
You know what's funny as shit?
Huh?
When she tells the kids, don't tell anyone.
And they're all like, oh, yeah.
It's, goddamn, the fucking Howie Jr. But talking about the horror of this film, there are some really dark fucking moments, and I think, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, how we gifted each other some of the monsters, basically, from the film. There are a really, really fun cast of creatures that show up in this movie.
Yeah.
They're goofy comedy relief.
Like the gingerbread men.
Yeah, little, CGI animated gingerbread men.
I think the reason that they put...
That fight David Cockner and he fucking blows him away with a shotgun.
And while they're shooting screws at them through a nail gun. I think the reason that there's the gingerbread men is because they are a little bit more of a comic relief.
Yeah.
Because if you took them out and you looked at all the other monsters, this movie's really, really upsetting.
It's terrifying. Like, if you had just a 10-minute chunk of what happens in the fucking attic of that house.
And it's nothing but the attic without any breaks.
Yeah.
That would be just like nightmares for days.
I think there'd be kids fucking passing out in their seats in the theater, like just holding their breath, completely terrified, watching the kids getting eaten by the fucking Jack-in-the-Box creature.
Or parents being like, this is too much.
Yeah, complaints.
Yeah.
Just problems with... Well, the thing is, Krampus and Universal lucked out because parents didn't show up in the theater.
Right?
I do have a feeling, though, that this movie has long-lasting legs. I think this is going to be one that winds up being, much like Gremlins, kind of a Christmas horror cult classic that down the line, give it 5 years, 10 years,
starts picking up.
Kids who watch this when they were way too fucking young are going to try to find that scary ass fucking movie where the girl crawls underneath the car and freaks out when the Jack in the Box, lifts its eyes up, or when the goddamn cherub flies down out of the rafters.
We were watching this in the theaters. We were watching this in theaters, and I was like, okay, this movie's great. And then the cherub shows up. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And the entire time, I'm like, no!
God! Oh, Jesus! And okay, so each of the characters have a fight with a monster in this movie. And the cherub versus Toni Collette fight
is amazing.
Best out of all of them, because you've got the sister with the bear that has the row of teeth, and that's fine. You've got
the husband with the stabby robot.
Yeah. And that guy, I forget his name, Adam something. I think it's Adam Scott.
I think so. Yeah.
Dude from whatever show, Parks and Rec. Fan favorite, stuff like that, and he's fine.
Yeah, Adam Scott.
Yeah, the cast in this film is a great mix. They all do excellent work. The kid cast is really well fleshed out.
Oddly enough, because kid casting, especially nowadays,
it's fucking tough.
It's tough.
Yeah, even teen casting nowadays. There are some fucking movies that we've had to review that have been unbearably bad because of these kids who grow up and get put in front of the camera and have absolutely no fucking training experience or any kind of classical work behind what they're doing. And it is what it is. But here, Mike Dougherty manages to wrangle this crew and this cast and actually pull good performances out of them. And it's good. It's legit.
Honestly, when it comes to this movie, the performances are great.
Yes.
I like the dialogue. I like the pacing.
Yeah.
My only issue is there are some things like, why are they having that fancy dinner on December 23rd instead of Christmas Eve? So there's some timeline stuff.
Yeah.
That's a little like, what the fuck? And some like, okay, so our neighbors and postmen and snowplow people.
Why is there a DHL driver running around on Christmas Day? Is it Christmas Day or is it Christmas Eve?
But it's also
is it the 23rd?
But it's like, if you're supposed to be in the snow globe realm, spoilers.
Why are they
there?
Why is there a cop siren?
So there are a couple of issues. Just trying to piece things together, but at the same time, even though it could be frustrating, it's a really well done film.
Yeah, and again, I think about it kind of like going back, once more to Tibor Takak's The Gate, just saying that with this movie, it's very much a dark horror fantasy.
Yes.
And there are even parts when, we see like all of the elves burst in. One of my favorite elves being the fucking plague doctor guy.
Yep.
And then the one that grabs the baby, which is just fantastic. The baby's in a little like... You want to talk about her jumper?
Her jumper.
Her little onesie.
I'm not a fan of kids. I just don't like children. Just go play in traffic. That's fine. This little girl, she has the cutest red curly hair, but what gets me the most is she's wearing a footy jammy that's pink that has fucking strawberries on it. And for some reason, it just makes me really happy.
And yeah, she gets basically like
she gets kidnapped,
goblined away, like
She's like Jareth's brother's kids went in there.
Yeah. If fucking Jareth had elves and did the freaking
well, that's why I said
Krampus
Jareth's brother, because he's the goblin. His brother does elves.
We don't see Krampus's real face in the movie, so we don't know, if it's another version of Bowie. It could be.
Well, that's something I like too, because the first time we watched it, we were like, "Oh man, it just looks like Santa Claus. That's bullshit." Well, and then we watched it again in theaters, and we're like, "That's a fucking mask."
Yeah, because you see the eyes and you see the skin around the eyes, and it's very goat-like.
Yeah.
And then you kind of realize that there's a little bit of separation between the face that it wears and the, skin around the edges.
And the more you watch it and the more you actually look at it, you see that it's a mask, and it makes it more dynamic and more upsetting.
I think we complained about the design of the mouth, and then we realized the function.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh. Okay, because aesthetically with this movie, that's where everything counts. Everything that's on screen, everything that's visually shown to us and practical and matte work and all of the, fantastic fucking tricks that the crew had up their sleeve for this. It's the continuity stuff that gets a little gray and kind of fuzzy. But I let that shit slide because overall, this is a really entertaining film.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's, one of our favorites that, just like with the majority of this series, we put on every fucking year.
Yep, we've done it every year. Usually
since 2015, since it came out.
We've seen it. We saw it twice in theaters in 2015, and then we usually put it on and play pool.
Yeah, because it's a great background film. And it's got a fantastic fucking score, too. Like, the music in the film, there are a lot of needle drops to classic Christmas songs that everyone knows growing up, yep. But there's also this really good Douglas Pipes ambient mixed with a little bit of sort of the, I don't know, kind of more ominous music that I could
more
relate.
Ethereal.
Yeah. Like, I was going to say, some of the music cues that are a little more ominous in like Home Alone. There's a little bit of that.
I was going to say Silent Hill, and then you said Home Alone, and now I'm mixing the two, and I'm really, really upset.
I do kind of love that idea of mixing Home Alone and Silent Hill.
On an offhand note, there's a fucking meme going around right now where it's Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone doing the
Sure.
And then it has the picture of the furnace that he's scared of.
Okay.
And it's supposed to look like the Mangler, and it's like the furnace, the new horror movie.
Good. Good. Yes, I'm ready for that.
We're all ready for that.
I'm ready for the Mangler versus Kevin McAllister. Absolutely.
In the furnace.
Yes. Bah. That would be awesome. I like Krampus a lot. And I think it's one worth sharing and worth enjoying. And I can see it occasionally rubbing people the wrong way just because there's just an overload of Krampus out there.
Yeah.
But this is one that I think is going to overall be the one that really rises to the top and stays there. For
me, this is one that I champion.
Totally.
I do really enjoy this movie for a lot of reasons. I think it's severely underrated and misunderstood.
I agree.
Which is why I think in a couple years, people are going to rediscover it and appreciate it more.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping for, because it honestly does deserve appreciation, and it's a lot of fun, and people need to be like, okay, this is a good movie, and just have fun with it. And I think no one's there yet, so I'm hoping in a few years it gets there. Yeah, there are fans out there. There are diehards who are like, aware that this movie's excellent. And then there are people that are slowly but surely growing into the realization that this one might be right up there with something like Scrooged after a period of time. It's going to take a while, but I think it will get up to that level. Yeah. So before we go, let's talk about who our favorite monster creature is in this. Who's your favorite monster creature? Oh, God. I would really have to say that it's the Jack-in-the-Box creature. I love the elves. I love, the look of the masks and how they're like pseudo-Nordic kind of, menacing looking designs. The cherub is awesome. It's got a great fucking death scene too. The others kind of remind me of like Demonic Toys level shit. It's really Demonic Toys and so much dolls and shit. Yeah. Oh man, I wish that interview with Phantom with Mike Doherty had gone through, because I totally would have talked to him about Full Moon and Charles Band. But the overall
creature that stands out like above everyone else is that fucking Jack in the Box.
I agree.
God damn, that thing is just a fucking hell beast manifest.
So
and when it claps at the horn,
I love the cherub a lot.
Yeah, she's great.
But that fucking Jack in the Box is awful.
Mm-hmm.
It's too. All right, there's a man inside of that clapping. That's how practical it is. It's really messed up.
It's a creature suit, but it's one of the scariest goddamn creature suits.
Krampus's reindeer.
Oh, they're great. The Rams?
Yeah, the Rams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the cherub, but I think
awesome.
the Jack in the Box is the best.
What's the most upsetting thing about the Jack in the Box for you? Because I'm gonna have to say, with like the porcelain features and the toy-like outside,
that's what upsets me the most is, all right, so porcelain dolls, especially porcelain dolls, are really creepy. So you have this porcelain face, and then it opens up its mouth sideways with organicness and sharp rows of teeth. No.
Yeah. Like the inside of its mouth looks like a fucking graboid, like the goddamn.
I think that's what it is. It's like I think when it opens its mouth, it's when I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. That never should there ever be a porcelain doll filled with meat unless it's a Svankmajer film.
And being able to mimic.
So gross.
Being able to mimic whoever it consumes.
That's terrifying.
Yes.
Because it does that. It will actually eat someone whole.
And then mimic their voice.
Yeah.
To lure you.
When you go to try to find the person who's missing, you confront that thing. And then doesn't it like slime you before it consumes you? Because that's what happens.
It can slime / cocoon you, yeah.
This thing's a fucking terror.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's all practical.
And it's fucking creative as shit. Because somebody came up with this idea and...
Someone had an acid trip and almost died and went to hell and then came back and this was there.
Dark as fuck. And I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Krampus. It's a great movie. Definitely check it out. Mm-hmm. And Andrew, I'm going to kind of flip the tables.
Ooh.
Do you have any shout outs for the week?
I sure do. So folks, we are in day 2 of this series that we're doing. So already this week, we have thrown out our Rammstein episode with Josh Clark, who was a fantastic guest to speak with. And it was a pleasure talking to him about Rammstein, and we can't wait to have him on again. So definitely go look up Josh Clark Art on Instagram and find him on Facebook and track his stuff because he's doing great work out of Western Colorado. Yeah. Check out the Dark Art Society as always. Chet Zar just released a new episode where he interviews Dr. A, which is super cool. And again, his episode with Jason Louv of Ultra Culture is fantastic. Go and take a look at Shane Isakowski's art. Carlito Brigante's art, April Dickerson. They're all producing amazing work and some of our favorites that we have enjoyed adding to our collection through this year. And also, new stuff is coming out from Brian Smith.
What?
And his oil on panel Untitled creatures are fucking amazing.
Oh, he does not have new stuff on the way.
Stuff just got posted out there of some of his new work. He had
there goes my tax return.
Well, one of his latest pieces started off as a portrait that became something very much pulled from the realm of the ether, which is fucking fantastic. But on top of that, as always, check out American McGee. And follow him on YouTube, where he is now uploading clips cut from his live streams. So you can see him specifically talk about certain things that are leading up to the brand new Alice game. So far titled Alice Asylum.
And also don't forget to check out mysterious.com. It's where
his storefront.
Yeah. Where he makes necklaces, leggings, purses, wallets,
posters, the dark art,
umbrellas.
Yeah.
Like anything an Alice fan could want, plus more.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful stuff. I own a lot of it. And
His dark art team is like a fucking dark fantasy factory producing unreal amounts of shit. Like, they're crazy prolific.
They're this industry.
Yeah.
That just keeps pumping out all this amazing material that if you are dark-minded and like-minded like me, it's just everything you want.
You know what that reminds me too? Because American McGee cut his teeth in the entertainment industry with all of the folks that had created the Doom series.
Yep.
Before he went on.
It's the anniversary of Doom.
Yeah, so I think it's the 20th anniversary of Doom?
Yep.
Something like that?
20 years.
Yep. Actually, maybe 25, something like that. Because one of the lead creators of Doom has done, John Romero, is he has released a new expansion for Doom called Sigil, which are 4 new, completely original areas that are added on to the final chapter of the original Doom, which are available for fans to go and get right now. And then there's an awesome package that's out there available on limited run games, which those guys, I mean, they have done some incredible releases for games like Dragon's Lair, Flashback. I just love the stuff that they're putting out for the old retro titles that, you know, we grew up with. But yeah, guys, as always, thank you for, you know, listening in to us talk about what we love. And this time we were really happy to get into Krampus. Deborah, do you have any final things you want to touch on?
2 things.
Yeah.
1, check out VG Nights, Nights with a K.
Kniggets.
VG Kniggets, all one word. I'm in there sometimes. I've been neglecting my duties, and I apologize.
Well, you're a moderator, but you're also one of the streamers.
Well, I've been neglecting my streaming duties. I've still been a moderator in there, but it's my brother Tandon and a whole bunch of other people. Just listen to people getting drunk and
play the shit out of Smash.
It's playing Smash and video game WoW and all kinds of bullshit. And like, if you go in there and say something bad to them, they're just gonna keep going as long as it's not too bad.
Yeah, they're good folks.
Yeah, like they know the banter. Also want to throw out on that note, Tandon is kind of talking with me right now about doing an episode. So if we do this, it's going to really throw you guys through a loop.
One of the freakiest fandoms you can possibly imagine, folks.
It's freaky.
So stand by for more on that possibly in the new year.
So that's all I got.
As we wind up to 2019.
That's all I got, except for be prepared for Day 3. I'm leaving it at that.
Yep. All right, folks. Thanks again as always, and let us know if you have anything you want us to talk about, anything you'd like to hear. Hit us up on Instagram, on the official site freakyfandomspodcast.com, and all of our feeds. And until next time, we're Freaky Fandoms.
Yeah, we are.
Gross von Krampus.
Fucking Booshka. Bitch.